Well, I come from family history, with family history of female pattern hair loss, which is not insignificant. I think it started for me when I was 38 or 39. And the reason I think that's the case is obviously before I started HRP with you, I was looking at photos. And there's a photo of my 14-year-old niece, of me visiting Australia at the time, picking her up, throwing her up in the air, but I always had my hair pulled back on this side. And that giant bald patch was there. So I think it started then, but I've never not shed hair. I've been hair obsessed. I've always bought Kerastars when I couldn't afford it as an 18-year-old. It was a long time ago. It was far more expensive to access then. I have more hair contacts in my telephone than anything else, and I'll show it to you after this. It's hair in Hong Kong, hair in New York, hair in London, because I've always had blow dries. So hair's been a bit of an obsession of mine, because for me, I can be unkept on every other angle, nails, makeup, threading, but the hair it's my thing, right? Not because I had lots of it, but it's because I just wanted it to be quite polished all the time. A good question, because it takes a bit of thinking for me to think back to that time. I think it was two aspects to it. I've always had a bit of a disordered eating history, and I talk about this because most women don't talk about this, and I want to talk about this. I ate to diet, to always be quite skinny, and now at 51 I'd like to talk to my 30-year-old self to go, it's not good for your bones, Hema. It's not good for your iron levels, and it's not good for this graceful aging that you want to go down the path of. So it was disordered eating, hair shedding considerably. My iron levels were also very poor because I've had abnormal bleeding for many years, which went unchecked for many years, which I'm finally doing something about in the last few months. So it was a confluence of both things, but my hairbrush has never not had hair. But you know, at some point you start to notice the things where you can't unnotice them. And just as I was walking up here, I obviously have many hair ties around my wrists, and both of them still have hair in it, but it wasn't as significant as before. But it's always been a thing. And, you know, I grew up in a house with 3 girls and black hair. Well, mine's dyed, I must tell you now. But the bathroom floor is always filled with hair on the ground. So it's sort of, you get used to it, but at some point you realize that it's not good enough. You've got to do something about it. I started Googling wigs 2 years ago. And I thought, why am I doing this? It was Googling wigs, Googling hair loss treatments. And I'm surrounded by lots of doctors all the time with the work that I do. But then I thought, why am I doing this? There must be a middle ground somewhere. And I didn't want to take oral minoxidil at all. I was very particular about it because I'm on so many vitamins and HRT, and, you know, I'd be rattling if I walked in with another pill, I feel. So it was that Googling of the wigs and going, why am I doing this when I haven't even looked at base level? So I then spoke to my GP, who's brilliant. She said, let's get your iron sorted, optimized for your level. In that discovery phase of looking at the iron levels and finding a new GP, who's my current GP as well, we discovered that my iron was extraordinarily low. The entire profile was out of whack. So we started fixing that first, and then looked at my diet holistically rather than just as, you know, wanting to lose weight and wanting to fit into ridiculous sizes that no one should ever aim to fit into. And that's when I thought, this is time to do something about this. And then I opened a business. So I've been so busy, I haven't had time to sit down and go, how do I do this? Where do I start? And when you go down this Google path, which is evil and fantastic at the same time, you get all these telehealth providers that will send you pills every month. Now, I'm surrounded by doctors, as I said. I'm a huge fan of not going down that path because it's not personalized. No one can tell me that's a personalized approach. And remembering I'm a 51-year-old woman that's lived in 7 countries, I have tried everything. You'd ask me what creams I haven't tried. There probably aren't many. So I'm very particular about the providers I want to go with, because I'm so outcome oriented. So science and having a medical professional behind what I want to continue doing is very important for me. So yes, I looked at minoxidil at one point. I looked at all these other places. I was like, this is really not the science I need. And because I was on HRT, now I've got my endocrinologist and my GP working with me to be able to come here and see you as well. So, and we have a lot of oncology patients at Ponty Health. So it was the jigsaw pieces fell into place. it's not good. You don't feel good about it. You'd always cover that part, right? You style your hair, so you do. I couldn't put my hair back in a ponytail without styling it a certain way and using gel or whatever. So for me, it was that part. And then I stopped wearing my hair with the middle part. That was a big thing as well, which is a very comfortable, I always tie my hair in a bun. But it wasn't a good space to be in, because it was, you're a frog in a pot of boiling water. And it took me a while to feel the heat. If, using that analogy, I had to really wake up to go, if I don't do something now, starting something at 60 or 55 or 54, and understanding I'm going through perimenopause still, yes, I've fixed my vitamins. Yes, I've fixed my diet and my nutrition. Yes, I'm working with great doctors. But if I don't put a stop to this now, the preventative aspect of it, prolonging that aspect of it, I didn't want to do this later if there were options. But finding options wasn't easy. I was ready to get bald. Like, I know this sounds crazy. When you start Googling Shani Wigs in New York, I love her stuff, by the way. I love her Instagram profile. And I'm like, wait, this is $5,000 US or $3,000 US for a wig. Like, what am I doing? Why am I going to this extreme? Is there no middle ground? I was desperate for something, yet I wasn't that desperate. But at that moment, I took stock of me Googling $5,000 wigs and wanting to order one and going, hang on, Hema, this is wild. There must be a middle ground. So it was that, and being prepped for not having hair, because my mother's got significant hair loss. And I'm seeing a lot of women around me at my age losing a lot of hair, and also seeing a lot of my friends that have gone through breast cancer and post-chemo, going through their journey with them. You go into a space of acceptance and resignation. And then I had to wake myself up going, hang on, you don't need to be there yet. Why are you going to that end? So yeah, it took me a while. Two things. I looked at the online stuff, 100%. I wouldn't recommend anyone out there doing this. Do not go down that path with these random telehealth consults that are not scientifically backed, where you're taking medication that could be contraindicative to what you're taking otherwise. In my case, I'm on HRT. Wasn't an option to take a lot of the meds that are in those pills. So that was a no. PRP I looked into, but I can't stand needles and I can't stand blood. Like, I have to lie down to get a blood test now. So it's not my jam. And I don't know whether all that trauma in my scalp is something I really wanted to deal with once a week or once a month. It's not, I don't want to be nervous before I go into a treatment. Again, I'm a 51-year-old woman. I know a little bit more than I did when I was 40. I wish I'd sat in that comfortable zone of being uncomfortable with that level of trauma. And I didn't like that at all. So that was a no for me as well. And again, with abnormal bleeding and low iron count, you don't need something else to be bleeding apart from what you're going through anyway. The process with HRP was brilliant because your socials had so much information. Your website had so much information. You explained it very clearly. Remember, I'm hyper cynical. I've done everything. Ask me what, and I've got a solution for it. So I've seen a lot and experienced a lot, and I was in a comfortable space to try it. I love that it only took 20 minutes of my time, and I could organize my appointments in a convenient manner, and your team have been fantastic. I love the reminders. I love the fact that there's a cadence to the admin aspect of something that you have to do for 6 weeks, which is a commitment. Even if it's just 20 minutes, you've got to prep to get there, and there's all these things, parking, et cetera, if you need to do that. So all of that was the ease in which your team laid it out was fantastic for me. So it made my life very easy. Your advice when I first saw you to get the silk turban is invaluable. It's really comfortable, by the way. It's quite nice. You gave me the shampoo, which was good. And now, again, I've been using really good shampoo for years. It's actually really good quality. It's not so drying. I've got brittle, I think, dry hair. Needs a lot of care. And I think it's pretty decent quality shampoo. Obviously, I put a lot of conditioner in it. But the home treatment, dealing with the chemist, it was all very seamless. They called, they texted. Then I think you put a note in there saying she's really busy. Please don't call. She doesn't answer random calls, which I don't. So it was a texting service, it was email, and they called. I like the way that you coordinated it for me. And the actual ointment itself it's the extra thing to do. Now we have a lot of things to do. I have to wear patches twice a week for my estrogen. I was taking tuphenethrin every night. I got testosterone, which is also part of my protocol. This has become one more thing. It's a lot, right? It's a lot. So you can't just go to bed. You can't just go, oh, I can just roll in from a movie on the sofa to back. You have to organize yourself. But there have been 2 nights when I've gone, oh my God, I'm so lazy. Do I miss it? I'm going, no, just do it. Because it doesn't take much time at all. It's like not even a minute. You get used to it. Incredible, because I've got patches in my head and now I'm cynical. I'm a pretty cynical person. I'm also married to a hyper-cynical person in the profession that he's in. I'm seeing the baby hairs, and I thought it was all just in my head at one point when I started the treatment, but I'm feeling good about this. I mean, when you look back at a photo, and I really need to find this photo of me carrying my niece and throwing her up in this Aussie sun and this patch that's just on my scalp, it's quite significant to think that that is not quite there. One, I've placed attention and intentional attention on something that's been bothering me for a very long time. So the minute you do it as a human being, it just makes a difference, right? Couple that with the science, your experience, the fact that it's not an invasive treatment, the fact that you can get about your day the next day, the night off. It's been quite a lovely journey. I've started to nourish my hair like I never have. And now, odd thing for me to say, because I have so many blow dry, places on my phone. You asked me about hair, I thought I could answer it. But I feel like I'm paying it the attention that it deserves. And I think my 60-year-old self will tell my 51-year-old self rather that, well done. You're on the journey. I have. And my beautiful hairdresser, she's noticed it as well. Like it's the middle part. It's not as middly as it was before. There's not much skin there. And the sides, it's always the sides. I've always noticed that when my hair's quite dirty and before the dry shampoo stuff, right? Look, I haven't done that for a while. I used to get patches up here, but all of that seems to be doing quite well. I'm still cynical going through it because I'm like, oh my God, is this really working? And it's working. It's quite exciting.